as you can see, I made myself some nachos. I always like my own nachos the best. You know, I think we all do things where we think we do a better job than everybody else. I always prefer my own nachos to nachos that I've had in a restaurant. I think that's because I can put on anything I want, you know, as much as I want, you know, whatever. Today I used 2 different types of chips, and you know, I made them this way, but a lot of times I'll put like shrimp on them or bacon or whatever. So I do different things. Today I put some cilantro and parsley, a mixture of cilantro and parsley on top. Sometimes I put chopped chives or green onions on top, whatever. But anyways, I'm dying to dig in. I'm starving. I also had some, the salsa was homemade that Linda and I make. We make our own salsa. Usually do stuff like that in the fall. You know, there's a few things I make where I think I like it the best, like my rice pudding. I prefer my own rice pudding. But then, you know, I spent 36 years in a care facility perfecting that rice pudding, you know, where I made it probably 2 or 3 times a month. For all those years. So these are double layer nachos. You might be saying, where's the sour cream? It's in the fridge where it belongs. I don't like sour cream unless it's in beef stroganoff or certain dips or sauces. I use it in a lot of my pasta sauces, you know, stuff like that. But just sour cream by itself, you know, just my buddy John, sometimes when we go out for a meal, we always go to our favorite Italian restaurant. Sometimes he'll order a small pizza about the size of this plate and a side of sour cream. He just dips each piece in the sour cream. I never had nachos until around the early 80s. I used to see the nacho chips in the store and I thought, what's the big deal, you know? Just chips. I had no idea that people loaded them up like this. That's cilantro and parsley. I picked that out of the garden this morning. Now some of you might think it's weird to put olives on here. Sometimes I put black olives on. They look great on there. But I had a can of black olives, but it was a big can wasn't opened yet, but I didn't want to open it just for a few Christmas, we make up a whole bunch of mini pizzas, like tiny little ones like that. And I mean a lot of them, like for appetizers. My mom never tried nachos until just a few years ago, about the same time she tried a quesadilla, and she really liked them. What's not to love? Everybody tells me I'm a fast eater. That's true. I'm a fast eater, fast walker, and when I go to bed, I'm even fast asleep. But I also talk kind of fast sometimes. And for ASMR, I'm trying to slow that down. But it's hard to break it's hard to break old habits. I did a nacho video not too long ago. Nachos are very good. That was my second nacho video. I got the nachos from 2 different restaurants. Both very good. But I prefer my own. I think we're all like that. We all have a certain recipe or a certain thing we do where we think we do it better. We like our own way. If you have a recipe that you feel you do a better job of than anybody else, I'd like you to share it. Like, not necessarily the recipe, but at least, tell me what it is. Quite often, I'll just do my notes in the mic. But I did these in the oven. I do them that way. But sometimes in the summer, when it's a really hot day, you don't want to be firing up the oven. And I'm not sure this plate would fit in the toaster oven. there's a new chicken restaurant that opened in town called Flames. Flames. It's spelled flame with the letter Z on the end. Whereas in Canada we say Z, but a lot of times I say Z. I just thought ZZ Top sounded better than ZZ Top. So I looked at their menu online. By all appearances, it's just another chicken joint with chicken burgers and stuff. Mind you, they have some bowls. I'd like to check that out. I will definitely check out their chicken, like the 3 pieces. You know, I'll get like, I'm assuming, aside from fries, you can get gravy and a biscuit, maybe, I hope. Oh, look at all that cheesy goodness. So their menu looks interesting. Like I said, their chicken and their chicken burgers. You know, it looks like everybody else's, but of course I have to try it. You can't always tell good food by looking at it. I'm curious about their bowls. Their bowls look pretty interesting. Some of this stuff slipped off here. They might have some wraps too. I can't remember. So let me know if you've heard of Flames or Flamies, how you pronounce it. I'm not sure where they originate from. eating like a pig today, aren't I? I remember a couple years ago, I may have said this already, Linda and I went downtown. There's a floating restaurant right on the water called Penny's Palapa. Very good Mexican food. I'd never had their nachos before. And so I ordered them. And I think I just got the small, with pulled pork on it. God, I couldn't even finish them. They were huge. I don't like to do that. I don't like to waste food. The waitress offered to put them in a container for me, so I could take them home. But at that point, I didn't want to look at another nacho for the rest of the week, I'm sure, at least. I was stuffed. Got myself a fork. Sometimes with the leftover hamburger, I have some today. I didn't put it all on. Linda and I will make a taco salad and use it for that. Or the next morning I'll make like a Spanish omelet or something for breakfast. Every year for my birthday, my youngest son always buys me a case of Corona. Every once in a while I can taste that cilantro on there. It's perfect. So you might be saying, where's the lime for your Corona? Well, this is going to sound kind of weird, but the only time I put lime in my Corona is when it's really, really hot out. I know it sounds weird, but when it's really hot out, I have lots of limes and I'll squeeze one in there. Not a whole one, but a quarter. I don't know, hot day, it's perfect. Especially when I'm going to go float in the pool. day as I was cutting lawn. Man, I was tempted to jump in the pool. Excuse me. But the pool's just a little bit cool, yeah. We meant to throw our thermal cover on, and we forgot. I mean, we can still do it. That really warms it up. Good to the very last crumb. Too bad to have some key lime pie for dessert. There's a restaurant in town called the Cactus Club. They make really good key lime pie. I heard an interesting story. Randy Bachman, the guitar player who played with Bachman Turner Overdrive and a band called Guess Who before that. His son Del Bachman is also a musician. He had that song years ago called She's So High. Anyways, he used to go to Cactus Club and he loved their key lime pie. And they took it off the menu. And he actually got a petition and petitioned them to get it back on the menu. Thought that was pretty cool. I guess when you're passionate about something, it's worth, going for it. Up until recently, not too long ago, Randy Bachman lived over in Salt Spring Island here for well over 20 years. Anyways, wow, that's delicious. Yeah, so that was good. I'm full now. Yeah. Like I said, when I used to make nachos for the kids, sometimes my daughter would want, all the kids wanted bacon on them, but some didn't want, maybe we'll say, onions or green pepper or something. So I just make each one individually, just do them in the microwave, and they were happy. Wow. Well, that was very good. Quite filling. It always looks like there's more there because they pile up, because, nachos are kind of weird shapes, so they kind of pile up, they're not flattened right out. And of course, by the time you put all the stuff on it and the cheese starts to melt, it starts to go down a bit. That was very good. I almost feel like I should have a nap right now. But anyways, there it is, my friends. That's my homemade nachos. I hope you enjoyed that. So, remember, I want to hear about your favorite recipe. What is it that you make that you think you make better than anybody else? What do you make that you prefer? Like, I prefer my own butter tarts. I prefer my own spaghetti carbonara. It may not have to do with cooking. Maybe there's something that you do that you could build, or something that you're capable of doing that you do better, or you think you do better than anybody else. And you're all very talented and amazing people, so I'm sure you won't have to reach too far. Okay, there it is, my friends.